Clive Barker podcast audio commentaries.
Thanks to your generous donations to our Kickstarter funding campaign,
Clive Barker podcast presents Fundraiser 4.
Welcome back to the Clive Barker podcast. We got another audio commentary for you guys today, and this one is from Masters of Horror, Series 2, Episode 8, Valerie on the Stairs.
So we are paused right at the opening for the show. You can see, on mine, I can see Stars Productions and like 2 drops of blood right above it on this sort of white cloth, like a bed linen or something.
Yeah, the opening credit for the show.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so by the count of 3, you guys can start playing it and sync to our commentary track. So are you guys ready? So 1, 2, 3, play.
There we go. I just got the 3rd drop.
Yeah.
Okay.
This opening always reminds me a little bit of American Psycho, the movie, because there's also an opening with like blood dripping on a white surface.
Yeah, or Dexter had that too.
Oh, yeah. I used to like Dexter. I saw like 2 or 3 seasons of it. So Masters of Horror.
Yeah.
There we go. I like the credit. Like I said in the other one, Heckle's Tale, I think this was a great show. It had some really awesome episodes. Some were a little, less interesting than others, but God, there was one, I think it was Carpenter's episode that had like a demon baby. That was so messed up.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I had read that they wanted to make this Creep Show TV show, but they couldn't because of some kind of rights issues.
Okay. So this one has Tony Todd. He plays the Beast.
Right. Yeah, and actually, if you go to episode 8, when I was at Mad Monster Party, I asked him about that, and he was pretty candid about it. He said that they sprayed on his costume, and he said, he said there's nothing like getting your balls sprayed at 8 o'clock.
Oh. This makeup reminds me of, if you have that edition, the Stealth Press edition of the Books of Blood, there's a new prologue or introduction that Clive Barker wrote, and here we have a rejection slip for this guy, Rob, the writer. But Clive Barker had this story about going out with David Armstrong during, I think, Halloween or something, and how David Armstrong dressed up as a black-looking demon with a giant dildo in front of him, and then 2 water balloons dripping from it. And I think they censor that, and then eventually they released the introduction, the complete introduction on Revelations, where you could read it. But I thought that was fun.
Yeah.
And there's a picture of it, too.
Oh, wow.
Special effects by Greg Nicotero. And was it Rick Baker?
Yeah, and you can't fault the effects.
Yeah. So Rob Hannessy, that's the name of our writer. He's getting rejection slips, and I guess he's getting a little bit of writer's block.
And and there's something in here, they're just showing us like this montage of, it's not just rejection slips, but also that, he's in debt and he probably needs to get out of his apartment, and the Heiberger house conveniently accepts struggling writers, which we'll find out in the narrative here, but...
I think this was kind of a thing, like around Europe and some places, because some rich people, some philanthropists or something, they would set up this place where struggling artists could go and have a quiet environment where they could work until they were published, and then they were kind of on their own. There's a Hellraiser comic from Marvel from the 90s that has this story called Blood of a Poet.
Yes,
it's very similar to this one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Where this writer goes into this house, and then there's some people there, some writers and artists, and one of them is creating a machine that can break the gate between this dimension and the Cenobites.
Right, yeah, that's right. And it said it on the opening credits based on a story by Clive Barker, and I think that there's a lot of, I think that because of that, people assume that this is an adaptation of an actual short story, but it's not. He wrote the treatment for this, and then Mick Garris developed it into the movie episode that it is.
That's right. 39 reject slips for Terry's latest novel. Wow. That's a lot. Revelations has the treatment as a PDF that you can go there and see. It's clivebarker.info/Valerie On The Stairs.
Yeah.
I think. And it's in several parts.
Yeah, separated into like five different files.
Actually, the URL is valerietv.html.
Oh, well, there we go.
Yeah. I think that Clive's complete treatment was pretty detailed. It was pretty detailed. I think if Mick Garris added anything to it, I don't think he added a lot. So I like this one. Do you write gruesome stuff, horror stories? And he's like, no, I just want to touch people's hearts.
Yeah, and that it's funny because this. Preparing for this, watching this, I started thinking, man, this character is really badly cast. He's so phony. And then later on, I was like, oh yeah, never mind. Yeah, there's a reason for that. It's kind of the genius of this movie, which it's not perfect, but there's some really neat things that they did with this one, and I like it better than Heichel's Tale in the way that was adapted.
I like it better, too, because I like the story. I like the fact that he's a writer. I like, books, and I love that kind of stuff. I always thought the Heichel's Tale seemed a little derivative, and it's only claim to like the supernatural is like the fact that there's like sex with zombies, and I'm not a big zombie fan, to be honest, so for me that always falls a little by the wayside. But this one was cool. This one has a lot of imagination to it, and Mick Garris said it was the first time he had received a 45-page treatment for a 60-minute teleplay.
Yeah, you might as well have written the script.
Yep. So, Ryan, do you know if this story was originally written just for Masters of Horror, or was this ever published anywhere else?
I don't think it was ever published anywhere else. And it might have been. He might have done it just for this because he's got a pretty good working relationship with Mick Garris. Or it could have been something that had been just filed away, and somebody grabbed it and said, "Hey, how about this?"
Yeah,
I don't know, but I don't think it's ever been published or released in any way.
In book form, at least, because it was released, of course, in Revelations. But So Clive Barker said, "Valerie On The Stairs is about a house which has been given by a now dead writer, a failed writer, over as a kind of hospice for failed writers. They take rooms and they can stay there, and the moment they get a piece of work published, they're out." So
if the work is. If that person is dead, like, who's managing this building?
I guess they would have left sort of a foundation or like a...
Yeah. They must have been... They would have to be really rich to keep maintaining this place in perpetuity, I guess. But right,
so a failed writer, I guess he got not as failed later because he ended up buying a house and left behind some sort of, inheritance that would keep this in business.
Yeah.
Maybe 9 rooms.
Or something.
Yeah, there's 9 rooms in here, and there's a big house. 9 fervent and fevered and desperate imaginations working each in solitude can do strange things to houses.
But we only really hear about like 3 other people, right? I don't think there's 9 writers in this movie.
I don't think so either. We don't see that many people.
I guess. In fact, the 3 writers that are here are all sort of critical to the plot.
Mm-hmm. Very, very critical. So there's also Christopher Lloyd is in this one as well.
Yeah, which is cool. And he was also in Quicksilver Highway, which was also done by Mick Garris. So probably not a huge coincidence.
I guess they just, directors and producers and actors, sometimes they have their favorite actors that they cast, and when they have a project, they can probably just get in touch with them and say, "Hey, are you interested in this?" And they say yes.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and it's like Christopher Lloyd, playing a quirky character. That makes sense.
Yeah. So Rob Hannessy, the writer, our protagonist, is played here by Tyron Laetzow. And I don't think I've ever seen him in anything else.
Yeah, I mean, if I have, I don't remember.
He was in House of the Dead in 2003, Assault on Wall Street 2013, and Being Erica in 2009. So he's Canadian.
Oh, okay. And House of the Dead is one of those terrible Uwe Boll video game adaptation movies.
Right. It was a video game, right? I think I remember seeing it on arcades. You had a gun and you could just shoot zombies and stuff like that. I think I played that a few times. Did you play that?
Oh, yeah. It's a Sega game, so I'm a big fan.
Sega.
But not of the movie. I think the movie was terrible.
Yeah. So it's kind of like Resident Evil, right? It was also a computer game, and then they started making that series of movies with Mila Jovovich. And I think they're still doing it. There's another one that just came out.
Right. I think they were hoping that it would become like Resident Evil, but, it's based on a gun game, so it's not going to have the same kind of plot.
Did you just see the woman in the mirror?
Yeah. Valerie.
This story goes right into like the weird stuff, right? I mean, he got in there, someone kind of like knocks on his door, and then he goes out, there's nobody there, and now he sees the lady in the mirror.
He hasn't even taken stuff out of his suitcase yet, and all of a sudden he's getting bombarded with all of this.
Yeah. A pretty good suite. I mean, for someone to live in, that's a pretty nice looking small apartment.
Yeah. It is.
At least he has more than one room in the whole like suite thing.
Yeah, maybe he should have moved in there a long time ago.
Oh, we got the Predator angle.
Yeah, you're right. Anytime.
And then he goes to the stairs and he sees this green frog there singing. Halfway down the stairs.
Yeah, right.
Little Robin.
Is the stair where I sit.
Yeah. I always love that little guy, Robin.
Yeah.
Kermit's nephew?
Yeah.
Is that what he is?
Yeah.
Why are those little guys are always nephews of like the main characters, like Huey, Louie, and Dewey? And
yeah. Well, and I think at the time they didn't want to imply that characters could be parents or would have sex or have children or anything.
Except for Goofy, right? Because Goofy has his kid.
Yeah, but I think that came a lot later.
Yeah, and you're wondering, oh my God, what's Goofy like in bed?
Yeah, did he have a wife?
Oh gosh, her.
Yeah.
Anyway, so finally someone is peeking in, I think. But yeah, Nicola Lippman plays Nancy Bloom, I think. Is that the lady that runs the house? I forgot.
No, wait. Maybe. I can't remember. And then there's the lady that's the southern woman who's always in her nightgown. Mm-hmm. And her slippers.
So there's been, I guess we're going into spoilers. If someone's watching this with the audio commentary track, I'm going to guess you guys have already seen this, and now you're just watching it again.
We don't want to walk on eggshells about it. I mean...
Right. So what I was going to say is that there's been other stories, other big examples of characters in stories who are self-aware that they are in a story. Mm-hmm. So that's this one is not really self-aware.
It's not yet. Well, Valerie and the demon are, right? Or the beast.
That's right.
But we learn later that he is a fictional character. And he doesn't know it, which is really interesting. Which also is, what my initial complaint that he's kind of a phony, too perfect, good looking, and he just wants to touch people's hearts. It's like, give me a break. But the reason is that he's a fictional character inside of a fictional movie. So it's kind of two levels of inception, I guess.
We got a nice introduction to all the characters here in the stairway.
Yeah.
And there's Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah.
Famous Professor Emmett Brown in Back to the Future. Did you ever recall, if there was listeners out there who may not know this, but Ryan, you used to have like a YouTube series with a bunch of puppets. One of them was a crab called Emmett.
Right. Right, yeah.
I have to ask, did you call him Emmett because of Professor Emmett Brown, or do you just like the name?
No, it was because in the grocery store they had IMIT crab meat for imitation crab meat.
Oh, I see.
So I said it was only meat that was, this was when I was a kid, it was only meat from crabs named Emmett.
Oh, gotcha. That's a cool kid thing to do. Yep.
And I had a little rubber finger puppet and I named him Emmett the Crab. Kind of went on from there, and it became my BBS handle, pre-internet.
Sure, yeah, bulletin board services.
Yeah.
I remember those.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Heiberger house.
So I can't believe that this guy here, invites him over to his apartment. There's a few little niggling things that kind of bug me. And he's, really welcoming and happy and wants to invite him over to his apartment. But he goes completely nuts when he looks at his book. So it's like, if you don't want him to see that, hide it or don't invite him over.
Right. That doesn't make any sense, right?
Yeah. There's one other thing that happens later on in the movie that when we get to it, that bugged me. It's just seemed kind of stupid, but.
So that guy, Bruce, that's his name, Bruce Sweetland. He likes to wear Hawaiian shirts. He's played by Jonathan Watton. I don't know how to pronounce this. But, he was known for Maps to the Stars, Breach, and Murdoch Mysteries.
I don't know any of those things.
Me neither.
So he's smoking too, apparently.
Yeah.
He had an ashtray with a cigarette in it. They always do. That's what they do to actors who don't want to actually smoke on the screen.
Actually, did you know that they have special cigarettes that look like normal cigarettes, but they're just like herbal cigarettes?
Oh, and they don't do anything?
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's kind of shocking.
Well, and actually, when you think about it now, what does this have to do with the story, the blood in the bathtub and all that?
I don't really remember, to be honest. I guess I fell asleep watching this, and I didn't really prepare that much. But, I guess we'll find out.
I think later on, what is his name? Brett, the writer? I forget.
Mm-hmm. Bruce,
that's it, Bruce. Yeah, we find out that Bruce had brought women over, and somehow they'd been sacrificed to the beast. But
okay,
maybe that.
And
has
this was
something to do with it.
And he's in a room that belonged to another writer called Terry. I think I'm assuming that he either passed away. Did they say what happened to Terry? I don't think
somebody committed suicide, right?
Right, yeah. But I like that line that Bruce said in response to Rob. Rob asked, "Is this place haunted?" And it's like, only by the specter of failure.
Yeah.
That's not very optimistic for a writer.
So at that point, though, that Bruce doesn't really know that his fictional characters have come to life, right?
I think some of them kind of suspect.
Even though they're super apparent to this guy. I mean, he sees her constantly and they're pounding on the walls before he even unpacks his suitcase.
Mm-hmm.
But for Rob, but it seems like for Bruce and the other two, maybe they've got a suspicion about something, but they don't really believe it.
Yeah, here's our first appearance of, not first appearance, but the first time that she actually talks.
Yeah. And she's an interesting character because she's sort of a cliche damsel in distress, but at the same time underneath she's devious and
absolutely, yeah. She's dangerous.
Yeah. What do you think of this quote, "Culture uses art to dream the death of beautiful women," that they put at the beginning of the...
I think you said it when you mentioned the damsel in distress, because that's kind of a trope in fiction that goes on for as long as there's been stories. I mean, told by men. Men always want to be the hero that saves the women, right? So the woman has to be in danger for him to be the hero. So I guess I'm assuming that's what they're mentioning there.
Yeah. And Bruce has all of these, so we know now, after having seen this before, he has all these photos of girls up on the wall. And later on, we find out that he would invite all these prostitutes and transients and stuff over, and they would do stuff, and he would somehow get them involved in his story. I forget what, and then they would be gone in the morning, and he didn't know what happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm guessing he took pictures of them. Maybe.
Yeah, that's why he has those pictures. He's talking about those babies on the wall.
Yeah.
That he saves his creative juice for writing. He's a monk.
Yeah. Which is something we've heard from Clive Barker directly in interviews before.
Sure thing. Yeah, he's mentioned that. Is that a pot plant in the back? Kind of looks like it. I can't tell.
Maybe.
Huh. It's pretty bold.
Yeah, and he's got his book right there on the typewriter on the desk behind him, and he keeps sort of glancing at it like, "Don't look at my book. Don't whatever you do, don't look at it." And then he's going to walk away and turn his back on Rob.
Uh-huh. I think there's like one of those books where a character discovers that he's fictional. One of them is from actually L. Ron Hubbard. It's called Typewriter in the Sky. A protagonist finds himself inside the story of his friend's book. That's kind of weird.
And it's kind of Philip K. Dick too, where people don't know that they're not real, or they're not human, or that the reality around them is not, the true reality. Or
like Breakfast of Champions by Kurt Vonnegut. That's another one. Oh, here we go. So he's dreaming now, I guess.
Oh, so that was the first visit with Bruce. I guess there's a second one where that stuff happens.
Yeah. Well, of course, another one that's super relevant to this is Mr. Be Gone, where the character, the demon, is inside a book, and he's telling people to burn the book.
Right, yeah.
But in his case, he wasn't a fictional character. He was a real demon that got trapped in a book.
So Bruce must have been more than just suspicious, because this guy has the exact same first and last name of his character.
Mm-hmm.
So he must have known, when he invited him over, maybe he just wanted to, they thought it was cool. He wanted to have a conversation with his character that he wrote.
That's kind of something like what Clive Barker does sometimes. These characters come to him more than he creates them.
Yeah.
And sometimes he would really surprise him. Like, for example, Mr. Be Gone was written that way. It was just a voice in his head that he just had to write it down. So here's Rob. Yeah. Fell asleep at his desk.
And somebody wrote some more story on his computer, and it wasn't him. Mm-hmm. Or he doesn't remember.
So Rob is going to discover a story penned by Bruce, Patricia, and Neely that's called Valerie on the Stairs, but I think it's just jumping a little bit too further.
Yeah.
But like you said, he becomes hostile for discovering this and kicks him out of the apartment.
Yeah.
Again, it's like, if you don't want him to see that, then don't invite them in.
Yeah.
Uh-oh, his computer had problems. Yeah, he lost his file. Oh, no, there it is. But he lost the stuff he had written.
What was that loading screen? That was weird. What program?
Yeah. TV always has weird internet, not internet, but...
that's hilarious that his...
Yeah, right? Because that's usually what they use in cartoons to show someone sleeping is just a little balloon saying zzz. Yeah.
And his memory of her is so kind of vague and
grainy.
Yeah. Yeah, which is perfect for a fictional character, that there's no real substance to his memory of this woman.
Mm-hmm. I wonder how many writers have found themselves in this spot. I think Hemingway called writer's block the white bull, because when you have a white page and you can't write anything, and you have to tame it somehow. So he called it the white bull. This seems like a sweet thing, though. I mean, if you're willing to just live in that house and be comfortable with the idea of not being published, you could just stay there as long as you wanted.
Yeah.
I guess they had to prove that they were trying to write something. Is that the Southern lady?
Yeah.
I think she's played by Suki Kaiser. I think she's Patricia. Patricia Dunbar.
It's funny the way he talks about his book is it sounds like he's trying to sell it to her.
Yeah.
And he sounds kind of phony and stupid. I mean, she picks up on it right away.
This guy looks familiar to me. He kind of reminds me of the character who played Ashbury.
Yeah, he does.
Doesn't he a little bit? What was his name? Malcolm McLaurin?
Yeah, Malcolm Smith.
Malcolm Smith. Thank you. And here's, good old Christopher Lloyd.
Yeah, he added a lot to this. Movie.
Mm-hmm.
Do we call it a movie or a TV show? I guess if it's an hour long and it's an anthology series, I don't know if you call these a movie or a TV show.
Yeah, teleplay.
Yeah.
TV film, episode, take your pick.
Yeah.
And so, let's see. Christopher Lloyd plays Everett Neely.
Yeah.
So this was originally released in December 29, 2006. So it's been over 10 years now since this aired.
And a year later on the DVD, there was a special or like a making of thing called Spine Tingler, the making of Valerie on the Stairs. But I wanted to see this, but there's no place to find it except on the DVD, and you and I don't have it on DVD, so we weren't able to see
Right.
that.
For the longest time, like 10 years ago, I was still living in Portugal, and the DVD, like you said before we started this, that there was first releases of this was like an anthology DVDs, I think.
Yeah.
More than one episode, I guess. And, there we go. Gratuitous nudity.
Yeah. I wonder how this actress felt about this part. You have to play a stereotypical woman who's naked all the time.
Yeah, it's not a particularly challenging role, I guess.
Yeah.
Valerie was played by Claire Grant. She appeared first on film opposite Joaquin Phoenix in the Academy-winning film Walk the Line.
Oh.
So I saw that one. That's about Johnny Cash.
Right. I remember that movie, but I don't...
She apparently had a theater degree in Memphis, Tennessee, where she grew up.
Yeah.
That's cool. She was also in Black Snake Moan and the TV show Castle. I think that's still going on. Oh, and she was also cast in Robot Chicken for a few episodes.
Oh, so she must be friends with Seth Green.
Uh-huh. And she was also in Mega Shark versus Colossus 2015. I want to watch this movie. That sounds amazing. That sounds awesome. And she plays Titania in Avengers Assemble TV series.
Oh,
I didn't even know
animated
about this TV show.
Yeah, it must be animated.
I remember Titania. She was this really strong woman with like this spiky uniform. Yeah, like an Amazon. I remember her from the comic books. I don't know if that's the same. This is being really, really seductive here. She's trying to recruit him to be her hero.
Yeah. Yeah, but for what? I mean, I don't understand. It seems like part of this is her trying to play out the role that she's written into, but another part of it is wanting to just kill everybody that made her a fictional character and free herself. So which one is she doing right now?
I think a mixture of both. I think she's trying to get revenge for being created so vulnerable and being subjected to being the slave of a monster, right?
Yeah. Well, and we find out that really he's her slave.
Mm-hmm. I love this shot. Oh, there we are.
Up at the top of the stairs.
Another reveal of the beast. Tony Todd is just such a suave guy. I mean, he can play any like role, especially like villain roles. He does a great job.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's got extensions on his fingers to make them look bigger.
Yeah, maybe
with
so.
Claws and stuff.
And like, here comes the neighbors again, because you're yelling at the wall.
Yeah, makes him sound like a crazy guy. And the lady that manages the house is always smoking.
Yeah.
In some ways, all these characters are kind of tropes themselves. They're very kind of stereotypical in their way.
Yeah.
It's a crawl space.
Right, yeah, the southern lady who's always in her nightgown and is drunk, seemingly drunk all the time.
Yeah, wears little negligees and stuff.
Yeah.
At this point in the commentary, Jose's laptop froze and his call dropped. And I didn't know for quite a while. I tried to keep on talking. We edited all of that out. And what we're going to do is get your... I'm sorry to make you do this, because normally these are pretty... normally these are a little smoother. But if you could get yourself back to, on the running time, 29 minutes and 56 seconds... get yourself to 29 minutes and 56 seconds, and then Jose will be joining us back again.
So, hi, we're back, 29:56. Sorry, my call dropped. So, all right, I'm going to start. Play. Okay, so sorry about that.
Dead rats in the walls.
She says, the gutter is full of young men just one step away from where you are now.
Yeah.
Okay, so here we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, like you said, we only really see like these three guys, which are the guys who are going to be writing the story that kind of drives this episode.
But there's 3 floors in this apartment building, and so it makes sense that there would probably be 9 apartments in here.
Mm-hmm.
But it seemed like he had been waiting for an opening to come to come, and then this person had to die for him to be able to get in there. So where are the other writers? I guess maybe to save money, they just wanted to only focus on these 3.
Yeah, the cast. They wanted to keep the production at a minimum, I guess. So
yeah.
In the original treatment, it was supposed to be 9 rooms. So
yeah, I mean, I think it would have been better to at least have some people in the periphery, or making comments, so they don't have to be like main characters.
Yeah. Well, at the same time, it's like these are failed writers, and I guess it would be a little busy to have like a house full of them. Yeah. Just like you said, just concentrate on the ones that are the main characters of the story.
Yeah.
And now this is where we start to get the idea that there's something fishy going on here, that these guys are into it.
Yeah. Yeah, and this Bruce character is weird, because he's describing stuff right out of his book, and he just treats him like he's an idiot, or it's like, oh yeah, that's the Twilight Zone or whatever. And it's like he he's obviously just being deceptive and a jerk, because he knows all about these characters. He knows that Rob Hennessy is a fictional character.
Mm-hmm. And wow, that's draft 15 and draft 16.
Yeah,
that's nuts, right? I mean, Clive Barker only does 3 handwritten drafts, and then it goes to typed.
Yeah,
and then the editor comes in and gives some notes and stuff.
Yeah,
and that's pretty much his process. Valerie on the Stairs.
And it's weird, all this pretense of politeness is going to go away here in just a second as soon as he gets caught, sneaking into this book. Which in real life, this is not, you don't try to murder somebody with a typewriter for looking at a book.
Yeah.
I mean, you would think he would have just pushed him away, or just said, hey, you can't look at that. That's,
Right. And immediately goes postal on this guy.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's like he smashes his own typewriter and tries to murder him with it right here.
I know. That's nuts.
And then,
did he just smash the typewriter?
Yeah.
Okay, because I heard that on you. I'm a little further ahead of you.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Let me know when Christopher Lloyd is asking him, talking to him in the hallway.
Oh, yeah, he is. And
Okay.
he's just about to say that's not the way a writer acts. Or which
This is an asylum.
Yeah. And
And he's like, I'm getting out of here. Oh, you see some more people behind them there in the hallway.
Oh, yeah, there's 2 more people, finally.
Yeah, extras.
I never noticed them before. I never even know they were there.
Mm-hmm. I wonder if the lady of the house that manages the house is in on this as well.
Yeah, I was wondering that too when we were disconnected there for a minute. If she somehow knows about this, because she sort of looks at them, or she's almost, I don't know, she's almost seems like she's in on it. So here, Rob Hannessy is supposed to be like, oh, I'm moving out in the morning, but he's like, no, I've got to get some writing done.
Right, yeah. I mean, he's just yelling at them saying, I'm getting the fuck out of here. And I thought he was going to go to his room and pack things up, but instead he's just writing.
Yeah, he's like, yep, back to the old grind or whatever. Okay.
Also, I noticed that when, here it comes, it's Valerie.
Yeah.
I noticed that when Bruce pulls Rob away from the book while he had it in his hand, he just throws it up in the air and all the pages get mixed up.
Yeah. Yeah, and his book is supposed to be precious, and he's like, oh, I hope you didn't get blood on it. So now he's all surprised that she's alive, even though Rob Hannessy's been telling him that for his whole time in this house.
Well, and Rob is there as well. I mean,
Yeah,
Rob has
right.
manifested himself, so that shouldn't come as a surprise to these guys.
Yeah, yeah.
When he says, oh, you're here, you're real, it's like, yeah, so's Rob, you know.
I think it would have been nice to have a little bit more, maybe a secret meeting between the 3 of them or something that just kind of says, like, how much they knew and didn't know. This is pretty gruesome.
It is.
And she told him to kill him, and then he says, it's all for you. And she's like, no, it was your hunger, not mine. It's kind of like, well...
Fatality.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like, no,
Sub-Zero wins.
She's like, oh, no, that's all you. And even though she just told him to kill him.
Oh, he totally has extensions on his fingers there.
Yeah.
You can totally see. Yeah. It's great. It's great makeup. That's so amazing. And there's these spirals on the beast, and I wonder how much those spiral designs on his face and shoulders had to do with like Peliquin and Boone from Nightbreed.
Yeah, totally. Othakai.
Yeah.
I want to wash you with my tongue. That's totally a Clive
Sexy,
Barker.
dude.
Yeah, totally a Clive Barker line.
Yeah. That's something that you could read on Tonight Again, the erotic stories book.
Yeah, and that about, not wanting to waste a drop of semen, and that's totally Clive Barker, too.
Yep. Hey, they gave her clothes this time.
Yeah.
She's got a dress on. This is definitely this archetype of like the monster and the woman, like Death and the Maiden.
Yeah,
like
Beauty and the Beast.
Beauty and the Beast, that's for sure. Oh, you can tell there that Beauty has had a couple of root canals on those teeth.
Okay.
She got some fillings you could see in that picture. I know that's too much detail. This is heavy. Why do you keep saying it's heavy? Is there like a problem with gravity?
Yeah. Did you ever watch Taxi, the TV show with Christopher Lloyd?
I think I've heard of it, and I may have seen a little bit of it, but I don't think I had it in Portugal when I was living there. But
he had a great character on that show. That was before Back to the Future and stuff.
Lloyd, right? Yeah. I think the first time I saw Christopher Lloyd in something was Back to the Future, and after that it might have been Uncle Fester and the Addams Family.
Oh yeah.
I guess those were the 2 first things that I saw Christopher Lloyd in.
It's funny. It's like he works out immediately that this was a movie based on a novel that he wrote. It's like, well, why is he hang the poster up in his room then? He's going to get caught, having published a book.
Neil Everest.
Yeah.
It's kind of like his version of Rawhead Rex, I guess.
Yeah.
But maybe this guy created the monster that on the book that they were writing together. So that's what I got from this scene.
Actually, that is a really good point about Rawhead Rex, because he's got a movie poster for a terrible movie based on a monster on a story that he wrote that he's proud of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then he says something like, I guess someone had to watch that horrible movie.
Yeah. That is, wow, I never put that together before that, but that, there's probably some that's probably a real experience that he's drawing from making this treatment.
And this line that he says, just don't tell Bloom that I'm a published author or she'll throw me on my ass. And it's like, well, you have a poster of that there, and it has your name on it.
That's what I was saying, yeah.
So that's kind of hiding in plain sight, I guess.
Yeah. So this is interesting because it's like, if he's supposed to be like the main hero of the story, how could Neil Everett not know that he's a fictional character, or that Valerie's real, or, he genuinely right here seems to be saying, no, look, that's just a book that we wrote. Those are not real characters.
That is a little confusing, I agree.
Yeah.
But,
it seems, we don't ever really get a good idea of how much people know and how much they don't, except for Valerie and the Beast. They're the only ones that know what's going on.
He's getting really mad at this.
Yeah.
I guess he's kind of scared. He doesn't want to believe that this is true, because if it's true, then his monster will become real.
Yeah.
If Valerie exists, then his monster will also exist, the Beast.
Yeah.
And I guess he doesn't want that to be true because he's afraid.
Yeah.
It's actually the second time Tony Todd is playing a character that's basically something comes into existence out of someone's dream. I mean, obviously in Candyman they ended up doing something different. It's a ghost of a dead slave, but originally the Forbidden was supposed to be Candyman was a myth that became real because so many people believed in it.
And that was, I think that was true in the first movie too.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, I'm going to get this book.
Golly, I mean, that's quite a gruesome death scene.
Yeah.
And I like
there's those two writers again, those two other people.
Yeah.
Oh wait, there's 3 of them, 4.
Interesting that those bedrooms have like little windows that lead to the hallway.
Yeah, they're offices. Those aren't.
And that's Patricia.
That's because it's an office building. It's not an apartment complex.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, so that would be a place where people would be writing and copy, and people would go in and out. I wonder if you could find out the location of this house. That'd be interesting. Or if it was all just a set. But it looks like at some point, there was an actual house here.
Well, was Heiberger House, did the treatment take place in Germany?
Not sure. I think the Heiberger was just the name of the guy who created that kind of foundation.
Because Heichel's Tale took place in Germany in the short story, but then was sort of like colonial American in the movie.
Right. Well, I'm looking at the treatment right now. So I think this is supposed to be in America. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And it says here, a room has just been freed up in the Heiberger house because one of its tenants sold his first book. That's when Rob goes to meet Nancy Bloom.
Oh, okay. So that writer didn't kill themselves?
No.
Huh. So
there's a lot more dialogue in here that I think didn't make it into the movie. So there is some change. There are some changes done to the Clive Barker's treatment, 45-page treatment.
Maybe to make it fit into an hour?
Mm-hmm. Probably. Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
She's getting revenge for all these writers who created her to be such a subservient character to the Beast. I get the feeling that she may have, I was the one that made you beautiful. So Everest Neely Everest, I guess that was his name. Yeah. Christopher Lloyd's character created the Beast. Patricia Dunbar made her beautiful.
And probably Bruce made Rob Hannity, right?
Could be, yeah.
Well, but how could these other people not know about Rob Hannity?
Huh.
I mean, he's like the hero of the story. How could he have hidden it from them all this time?
That is an excellent question. That's one of the things where the story kind of breaks down a little bit. Maybe the treatment is better. I'll have to read the treatment.
Yeah, I've downloaded it and I've had it, but I've never read it.
Oh, she poured all her rage into that book, and I guess that's why she's such a two-faced character, Valerie.
Yeah, and this is kind of really unfair. It's like for fictional characters to be getting revenge against the people who wrote them. It's like, they didn't know that they were that they were creating real people and making problems for them.
Yeah, this is a house that kind of had so many people imagining things and creating things and dreaming things up that I love this idea that having all this imagination. Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Having all this imagination would eventually create
something real.
Something real, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's very, very Clive Barker-ish.
Mm-hmm. Sure, like in The Forbidden.
Yeah. Now, if my throat and chest were like ripped open, I don't think I'd be launching myself at somebody.
Yeah, that's just another jump scare. You got to put this in because it's TV, so you got to have a little bit of a jump scare and a scary story.
Give me the gun.
He almost shoots himself in the foot.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Beast. Otaki. That sounds Japanese. Isn't there a word called otaki or otaku in Japanese?
Yeah. It means like weird and perverted.
Oh, okay.
He pronounces it othakai.
Oh, okay, I see it.
So at this point, I think Rob has figured out that Valerie is a manipulative character, and that she's not really like in danger. It seems that way, but at the same time, he still wants to go rescue her anyway. So that's a little confusing too.
This is a cool part that behind Everett's wall, that would be the passage to the Beast's torture chamber. Torture stuff was Sweetland. That was Bruce, I guess.
Yeah.
It was an addiction.
So they just made this book go on forever, and it never ended.
I always wondered how writers share authorship of a story. I can understand how two writers can make a book, but three writers?
Yeah.
One writer could just make an outline, the other one could fill it up.
Yeah.
But with three writers, I guess you pick up the story where the other left off, and you go with it.
Yeah, I have no idea.
But that kind of messes up the intentions of one of the authors is going to get the intention of the story kind of messed up if another one takes the story in a different direction.
Like, have you read Good Omens by Neil Pratchett and Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman?
Yeah, I love that book.
I do
It's really
too.
funny.
But I always wondered reading that, like, how do they decide who's writing what, or I don't know.
I guess it's in the back cover. It explains that Terry Pratchett liked to write during the day, and Neil Gaiman wrote during the night.
Oh.
And then in the few hours that they were together every day, they would write some more stuff. You know, they would decide where the story was going to go.
Wow.
But it's great, that book. I love it. It's got the 4 riders of the apocalypse, and there's a held hound that comes to meet the Antichrist, but he gets the wrong address.
It's been so long, I don't remember. I read that a long time ago.
That's a great one. Are you into the Discworld books?
No, I haven't read those.
Okay. Me neither, because there's so many, and I just, whenever I get interested in like a franchise of stories like that, it's hard to pick it up because you know it's going to be an investment. You're going to have to read like 6 or 7 books or whatever.
I keep thinking he's going to shoot himself in the head doing that.
Yeah, tapping himself in the forehead. It's with a gun. It's
unnerving.
Not something you want to do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So they kind of all, fell in love with the Valerie.
And it kind of seems like when he says, "Oh, you want to be the hero," it seems like he just kind of figured out that Rob is is the hero of the story. That he's not a real person, that he's not.
There you go. Now I never saw Bruce's final pages. Maybe he wrote you. Did you think of that?
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe this Rob character is a latecomer into the story.
Mm-hmm. This is kind of like a Blade Runner fake memory thing. It's like, no, I existed before I came here, and I'll exist after I leave this house.
I've got these vague memories with no sound of my girlfriend,
Implants.
Yeah. So there's blood dripping in there.
Mm-hmm. That's where all the other men have died, I guess.
Or all the women that Bruce brought back.
Oh, sure, yeah. I feel like there should be a boiler room and a little girl skipping rope.
Yeah. Oh. So did Othekai hang that woman there? I guess he must have.
Yeah. Othekai, the beast. You can totally tell it's a fake rubber mannequin, though.
Yeah. Unfortunately. So this death coming up, I hate. I think this might be one of the worst part of the whole movie.
So I'm looking at this interesting fandom wiki that talks about villains, and there's a page for Othekai. It says the Beast was essentially the typical demon who lorded over Valerie and carried women off to their deaths. At some point, the Beast became real alongside Valerie and decided to kill their creators. Oh, and this is supposed to be his, fake wife?
Yeah, his ex-girlfriend or whatever that he...
Yeah.
Why is this happening? This is so dumb.
You got to get rid of Christopher Lloyd's character so he can, be the hero by himself, I guess.
Yeah, so he can have the gun.
Yeah.
But, her first thought should be like, hey, these are people that can maybe get me down and get me to a hospital. Not like, I'm going to take a big bite out of his neck.
Well, I'm not sure if it's intended to actually be Anna or just some sort of succubi demon kind of thing in this torture chamber that uses people's memories against them or something, you know?
And Anna's not even a real character, a real person anyway, because we know that he's a fictional character and she is a fictional character too.
I would have rather see the Beast kill Christopher Lloyd's character. I think that would have been a more fitting end for this guy because he created the Beast, right? He created Othekai. So I think that would have given it a better dimension of I'm going to kill my own creator. Like you said, it feels like it was a wasted death there.
Yeah.
And it would still give him the chance to be the hero, Rob, He looks so good sitting in that throne.
Yeah, and I think it's really interesting here because I love how kind of bored he is with his life.
Yeah.
Kind of like Pinhead,
Like Pinhead, like Mammalian from the Damnation game.
He's like, yeah, sure, go ahead and shoot me. I don't care.
Nyx.
Yeah. And it's kind of like, well, yeah, no, I guess I'm going to have to fight you. I don't really care. I don't think you can beat me.
Good detail, taking out the bullets out of the wounds. God, I wonder how long it took to put all that makeup on.
Yeah.
This is definitely one of his best monster roles.
Yeah.
I think he's more interesting visually than Candyman, to be honest. That might sound a little, over the top for some people. Like, oh, I love Candyman, but it's like, yeah, but this monster, man, it's so badass.
That's true. Yeah, if you just break it down to that, I mean, comparing the two movies, obviously Candyman is better.
Hey, did you ever watch that show with Ron Perlman back in the 80s, Beauty and the Beast?
Oh, yeah, with Sarah Connor.
I used to love that show.
Yeah.
I used to love it. I mean, it's a little dated now because of all the... it's a little, too poetic sometimes. But it was Nightbreed before Nightbreed.
Yeah, yeah.
You had, the Morlocks or whatever they were called.
I watched
it
sometimes, but sometimes, my parents were in charge of the remote control, so...
Sure. I was listening to a podcast the other day with Ron Perlman where he said it was a great show, he loved doing it, and he got some good money, enough to get himself in trouble because he bought a house and then he didn't work after the show for 3 years. So
jeez.
Yeah. Sometimes actors get typecast, or a TV show is no guarantee that the career is going to soar after that, even if it's a really popular one, I guess. She's the good one.
Yeah.
Because she loves him.
Run.
That's a weird twist, right?
Yeah.
Like he cocks the gun as if he's pretending to shoot her, taking her hostage. And,
and he does know that they're sort of in this together.
Yeah.
That they work together to kill the three authors. So, but why does he? It's weird.
This tunnel is almost like a mixture between Hellraiser and Nightbreed.
Yeah.
You got the chains hanging, and then you got the cave, underground cave kind of thing.
Yeah. And they made it all the way up to the roof from the basement.
Yeah. It's like, oh, oops, no.
You just killed her anyway.
At this point, I'm not sure if I was believing that this guy was actually a character. I was like, maybe the monster and Valerie were just the characters, and he was actually really a real guy.
Yeah.
I was thinking,
why is he lasting so long compared to Valerie?
Yeah. But then, as it turns out, and we're going to see it here, it's a beautiful ending scene, I thought. Really fantastic.
Yeah. Yeah,
and other people could see them too, obviously. I mean,
and at this point, you would expect he would have the gun in his hand, and then the police would shoot him because he had a gun in his hand. But it's kind of nice that that's not the way it ended.
They're giving him a warning: "Drop the gun, son."
Yeah. Police are actually not, trigger happy, jumpy.
Because they could have shot him, and he would fall down and turn into pages as he falls down. That could have been like an ending as well, I guess.
Yeah.
But he has to have this realization moment here at the end. And it works so well. Like this makeup, it really works.
Yeah.
I wonder how they did that.
It's really cool.
How they managed to transfer that. Maybe they had some sort of plate where they would just press the hand and it would just press onto his hand.
And you're an actor. How do you show everybody that you're learning for the first time that you're a fictional character?
Right. You have to really convey that.
It's so meta too, because he's an actor playing a fictional character who's a fictional character.
Yeah. Special effects here are a little weird, but I guess it's part of the transformation.
Like his jacket disappearing and stuff.
Yeah.
I love this part here where he's looks like a skeleton made out of book pages.
Yeah, just fantastic. I love this ending scene.
Mm-hmm.
Just beautiful. I think I could have done without this last page flying into the camera, though.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little kind of hammy, but, well, why not,
And the police are like, hey, there are all these pages, or why are these pages falling on my head?
Pages
and
keep
so
falling
it came to
on
pass
my head.
that Rob Hennessy never became a published author. Like, yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I would have given up on that last shot. I think I would have been just happy to see him like turn into a bunch of pages. But but really cool story here.
Yeah,
Valerie on the Stairs.
There were just a few problems that may have been solved if they just had a little more time to flesh out the story and like who knew what and
yeah.
It's also
great art direction.
A little bit confusing about is Valerie a good character or not, and
I think that Patricia put a lot of her rage and anger into it, like she was saying. So that's probably why the character was a little poisoned by it.
Yeah,
but you do get this relationship between Valerie and the Beast Othakai that they were kind of in it together. They kind of liked each other. Like she was kind of his slave, but she enjoyed it a little bit. When he says, no, she loves me, she's mine, she kind of does a little bit.
Yeah.
It's this kind of weird Stockholm syndrome thing going on.
yeah, exactly.
Great art direction here by Don McCulley. Andre Adrianco was the assistant art director. And
and she was chained to him by like Jabba the Hutt, even though she really didn't need to be. So there's a lot of little elements of the story that are like this is the way we're written to be, but this is the way but the reality is the way we want to be is more like she's in charge and she tells Othakai what to do and.
Mm-hmm. So go check out the Clive Barker's 45-page treatment. It's at Revelation's website, clivebarker.info/ValerieTV.html. You'll be able to find all sorts of things with people from Can Be Effects talking about this, and Clive Barker talking about this, Christopher Lloyd. Tony Todd said about Othakai, he said, he's not abusive, first of all. He's in love with this woman. He's a romantic, tortured soul that could apply to anybody. You may not get it until the end, but because I'm playing a through line, every moment I have with Valerie is totally about love and obsession. Maybe an overwhelming obsession, too much love. I don't know how to do it right. And Christopher Lloyd said, I feel there's a seriousness about it because the only way this particular script can work is if all the characters and the actors playing them take everything very seriously. These are people who create a reality that gets out of control. You have to play the honesty of that. It would be easy to do a send-up, but they're truly scared. This is a serious situation. There's a lot of stuff that you can read there, so go check out clivebarker.info and read the draft of the treatment. It's pretty cool.
Well, we did it, and I think our next up, I think we'll be talking about the Great Unknown, the script for the Harry D'Amour, the first Harry D'Amour
adventure.
Book. Yeah, that never made it to screen.
Yeah, so keep checking out our blog and website and Facebook page, and thanks for listening. And this was another stretch goal of Kickstarter 2017 Blood Money. So thanks to all our supporters and our sponsors.
You can find the show notes for this page and lots of Clive Barker news and features at www.clivebarkercast.com. Leave comments there or get them directly into the podcast by clicking the Send Voicemail tab on the right. Please follow us on Twitter @BarkerCast or @OccupyMidian. Like us on Facebook and join the Occupy Midian Facebook group. You can listen on the site or subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, Libsyn, TuneIn, Pocket Cast, Google Play, and Double Twist. Subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. Please take a couple of minutes to leave us a review on iTunes. It means the world to us and helps us spread the word about Clive Barker. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial fan site and podcast that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Films. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans.
Thanks for listening.